And we, of course, doing mistakes, but mistakes are forgivable if the true love is under it, because you can always dig down. It's coming from a love or not. And if you are a parent who really care, you are able to change. You can say, yeah, this wasn't the best. I'm very sorry. I would do everything to change this. And because even adult kids would like to relate how this small wouldn't, you know? If just imagine that if your parents or grandparents would come here and now at this time of our life, they would say, I'm so sorry, Rob, that I couldn't do better, but I loved you so much. Can we do something to fix this together? What would you say?
That means it's time for episode 5 of the Lemon Water Chronicles. You weren't expecting that, neither was I. It's very jazzy around here. We improvise. We're improvising. That gives us another click to synchronize to. It'll be useful. Sorry. Today's topic, without further ado, is...
After this, I cannot think anything. But
we haven't introduced ourselves. This is Edina.
This is Rob.
This is Rob.
And this is the Lemon Water Chronicles. And we are a little bit cuckoo today. We are in a rush. I have to go to a parental meeting, so we are kind of...
They happen often at our school.
Yeah, stuffing lots of things at the same time. But today's topic is how we could be better parents with the help of cognitive psychology. This was grammatically correct sentence.
Being better parents with the help of cognitive is perfectly grammatical. Yeah, but that term might be scary for some people. I know I was a little bit scared when you said cognitive. I know. It sounds like you have to read 11 books before you can even think of having
it's
children.
All about how our brain works.
Okay, and children's brains are different from...
Yeah, sure. Yeah, not basically, but you know, they have developing brains, so it's very worthwhile to investigate with what kind of equipment we are coming to the world, what kind of experiences we have, what are the learning mechanisms, and so on and so on.
Okay, this is important, not only for making better humans, but because people didn't used to understand that children's minds went through these processes. They were different. I didn't realize that this is such recent information, not recent like last week, but in terms of the entire span of human history. This is 20th century stuff, isn't it? When people are starting to think, oh, I wonder what's going on in little Johnny's head.
And before that, everyone thought that in Johnny's head there is nothing. That Johnny is a tabula rasa, and we are just feeling up, you know, what's happening with him, shaping his personality as we want. It's a massively egoistic viewpoint. They didn't think about a child as an independent person who has their own traits, features, personality.
It's interesting. I've only seen one person grow up from infancy so far, and she hasn't fully grown up. She's only 21 months old at this point, but
she's quite good.
She watching her develop has really opened my eyes to some things that I believed that were completely incorrect about how we develop, and I thought that things like your kindness and your morality, these were all things that were taught. These were a layer that was added by your family and society. And yeah, it's completely wrong. People are born with a certain amount of personality in place. We can see this. And kindness can be innate. That someone can be born kind. It doesn't have to be drilled into them at home or at church or school or anywhere.
Church
Yeah, not there. That's not where morality comes from. So this was a surprise for me, and it makes me wonder what we can do, how much shaping we can do, or is our influence just in not taking away what's already there?
I think thinking about shaping is a very adult
Okay.
way to think.
Manipulating.
Very egoistic, that you are just prolonging yourself. Make a little me, like putting all of the expectation that I couldn't fulfill, so I will shape my kid to the one who I always wanted to be.
Oh, you really see that in the world, don't you? Theater moms and theater dads and sports dads.
So much of them. So, but that's more at the emotional level. Today we really would like to go into the brainy thing. That you mentioned the kindness and the cooperation is built in too. It's built in the animal kingdom, that they have to cooperate. So we have that too. That we born to want it to belong and participate. And you can see in our baby that she's very cooperative.
Well, yes, she's very cooperative.
And independent at the same time.
Yeah, independent, but it is built, and it makes sense. If you have to group together with a bunch of other members of your own species, then you have to be able to communicate and work together and understand each other, compromise. And they've seen this in the fossil record, haven't they? The pre-human primates looked after each other. If someone broke a bone or something, they can see from the skeleton that person was looked after, or that being was looked after by other beings.
And our newborns are really premature newborns. If you think about animals, they can walk after several hours or days, and
horses can.
They are just and our babies are very vulnerable, and they really need all of the safety that you can give it to them. And for long time, people look at their kids and dumb creatures. They didn't think about their babies as intelligent creatures. They thought that they can make a human. And I feel that we think that our goal is not to reshape them. So support them to maximize their potentials, but not cut their wings or making little mini-me's or whatever. And this attitude, it's coming from this myth that they were tabula rasa, which is completely untrue. In the womb, they already have lots of experiences that they are using to navigate the world. They are able to discriminate between two languages inside the mother is and some other languages. They have a preference for human face within that female face, within that mother face.
Wow, from moment zero.
Moment zero, there are some a sucking experiment that they put a pacifier, and you have this familiarity effect or novelty effect, and they are more calm when the mom face is coming, So, and they have the bias towards human faces, like they prefer 2 dots and 1 dot here and not another way around. So they are driven to be ready for the groups, to join and the melody, for example. They able to discriminate between how Hungarian sounds and how English sounds, and even with the fact that they born with the capacity, and this is something fascinating for me, to learn any language in the whole world. There is this experiment where this is very famous, probably lots of people know already, but this shows very much how open we are in the beginning. So Japanese kids and adults cannot differentiate between L and R. Okay, only one phoneme.
Okay.
They are quite close where we are.
Placed in the mouth, okay.
And but Japanese babies until 6 months of age, they are, which means that if you would drop somewhere else as a Japanese kid, not in Japan, you would be able to learn. and we have this universal capacity to learn any kind of language. But if this would still like this, that you always able to learn anything, it would be very hard on your brain. So
I don't have that problem.
I know, but you have an excuse. It's called a sensitive period.
What's that?
So sensitive period is connected with this perceptual narrowing, because, for example, when we're born, we are able to differentiate between monkey faces too. Because
the difference between human or monkey or
within monkey.
Really?
Yeah.
This monkey, that monkey.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because if you are ending up in the jungle, it's kind of useful.
Sorry, I thought you were him.
So, but that will disappear, and we would be able to discriminate between humans. But after we have this effect, for me, Asian people look like almost the same, but it's not true. I'm just perceptually narrowed, and my brain needs this, because if not, then I would always do this.
So this is a cognitive thing, not racism or
maybe there is a little root of racism of this, but there is some usefulness in this, because you have to belong to one group, and this is what it serves, that you would know your people with their faces, with their traits, or your identity will build up based on that.
Oh, okay.
But where we were, help me, where I started this thinking.
You talked about
the sensitive period. Thank you,
yes.
Rob.
I'm there for you.
So the sensitive period is that our brain is very, very plastic, even in adulthood, luckily. This is proven by experiments of aphasia, when your brain is injured,
yes.
and it can take other brain parts the same function. So
they can move around. If a part of the brain is damaged, then if that was your speech area that got damaged, the speech can actually move to a different part of the brain.
Not completely the other side, but yes. And we are able to learn languages. But the sensitive period is closing the plasticity at some extent. That's why I have an accent in English, even if I speak enough well.
I never noticed you having an accent.
I do.
I think I have an accent in Hungarian.
Yes, you do. And but if you can keep up with this plasticity, so if you are training your brain, then, it's preventing to have Alzheimer.
Oh.
So it's connected with everything. And the sensitive period is very interesting topic, because there are some horrible stories about, for example, Jeannie, who was locked and abused in a room, and she didn't really meet with any social interaction. So her language was nowhere. She couldn't talk, and she was impaired intellectually, not because she was sick, because there wasn't enough exposure.
Nothing activated her.
So it's shutting down the brain, and she, I think she died after 12, something like this. So it's a horrible, horrible, sad story. But that's why how cognitive psychology can help us. It's for me, it's easier to empathize with my kids if I know why they do some kind of things. Like, for example, this terrible 2 phase. I hate calling terrible 2, because I think adults are more terrible than 2 years old. Like, you can just see in what's happening in the US and here. It's not because they are horrible people.
No, they don't go through a period of horribleness.
No. They don't just, it's about the prefrontal cortex is not enough developed. So we talk about this the last episode, that we have these 3 different kind of brain region, this reptile brain and this limbical part where the emotions are all connected, and the prefrontal cortex, which is developing until 26. Mm-hmm. So when a baby is stuck in their emotions, what's happening is that our prefrontal cortex is serving as their prefrontal cortex, which is mean that if we able to be calm and gentle and calming them down, this is how they started to learn to control their emotions.
Wow. That's huge. So this name, Terrible Twos, is sort of a judgmental imposition of an idea that the child is not aligning with your expectations at that time.
The tyranny of
the infant, and if
yeah.
you're reacting in an angry way or in a hostile way, you are teaching the child that this is how you react.
Yeah, like imagine that. Don't lose your emotional control, for God's sake. Control your emotions. How I do right now.
Stop crying, or I'll give you something to cry about.
And the trick is that the mirrors, the neural mirrors. How do you say this?
Neural mirrors? Or?
Yes. So they are always there. They are always active because this is how they learn. Mirroring everything, imitate everything. So what you do, I will copy you. So that's why I don't believe in disciplining the child. Like, you're smoking. Oh, smoke is so bad. You don't do that. Don't do that. Really? How authentic you are as an adult. So they are always mirroring back. This is how... they are learning. This called natural pedagogy, that they look at us as agents who have more knowledge than them. So we are the source of discovering the world. We are the one who are showing them to how the world functioning. What does it mean being in the world? So everything what you do is an example. Everything, even the most nuanced, unconscious
Ooh, that's scary, isn't it? As a parent, that's scary. Because I mean, it was one thing to have your little one copying you brushing their teeth. But, if you're losing your temper or misplacing things or not handling a situation in a calm and intelligent way, then this is something else that they are picking up on. And
mirror neurons, this is the term, sorry. Yeah.
That's a tricky thing to say. Yeah, mirror neurons. So we have, even without doing anything hands-on, dispensing with this notion of shaping, just being the way...
You are exposing them to yourself.
You were teaching them without teaching them.
Yeah. But... there are some unconscious mechanisms that the baby would know that what you are telling and showing them is the addressee is them. This is why infant-directed speech working. So the baby would know that if you are using infant-directed speech, and I'm very sorry for North American people, but God's sake, what kind of infant-directed speech they are using? So exaggerated.
I know.
As a Hungarian, when I heard it, I was like, what they are doing.
And with older kids too, like, at what age do you no longer need infant-directed? Maybe we should give an example. What is an extreme...
Oh my gosh, you are so cute. Yes, yeah. They don't need this.
No.
You have a slower pace. You have a different intonation, but they don't. Oh, I know it's cultural, but for me, it's super exaggerated and a little bit condescending.
Oh yeah, and as a little one, and in my earliest memories, I remember the odd aunt or great aunt who would come over and do that sort of thing, and it felt condescending. These were people who didn't know you well. They would give you the inappropriate gifts at Christmas. It was skewed for a completely different age group, and the adult version of how children see the world is often so wrong, and the guesses are so bad that it's very cringeworthy for children. Yes. For little children, I think, can this just end?
Yeah, but there is a middle ground where actually this is super useful for the kids. Imagine that you are a 1.5-year-old, okay? You are understanding lots of things, but you are not really able to express. Except if you are using baby signs, but this is another topic. So people are talking around you all the time. We have 3 kids, so we are communicating with the others, we are communicating with each other. We are even using 2 languages at the same time. So for our third one, it's super helpful when we are using a special tone for her. So she would know exactly the time that the addressee is her, not anyone else. So it's like a huge noise. Whoop, infant directed speech is like, whoop, okay, I'm the addressee. Addressee or addressee?
Yeah, perfect. So what is appropriate infant directed speech? Which is just a cadence or the vocabulary, or is it the visual, the connection with them? You let them know that you're talking to them now, or how does it work?
It's working naturally. Luckily, there are some population where they don't use infant directed speech, and guess what? Kids are able to learn language that way too, but it's naturally. So it's cultural and universal with some exceptions. We are inherently know somehow. This is a wonderful thing of the brain, that we have some drives already inside. Even if you've never been a mother, you see a baby and you go to infant directed speech, and even you are using even more subtle signs, like we call these ostensive signals, that eye gaze, for example. You are looking at the child, and when you are talking about something, you are looking at the thing. I just did another one, even pointing. and it's important for the kid at the emotional level too, that you do something in their way, not talking fast, not using words which are hard to understand. There are more repetitions, so it's easy to pick up, because babies are learning statistically. So you are not learning that, now today I teach that this is a leaf. It's about frequency, how many times you hear the same things. And it's very unexpected that first they able to pick up suffixes, for example, because we use more suffixes than nouns. And then they know that the noun is coming before the suffix in Hungarian.
Wow. Does it work in other languages? Like if they hear you say ing, something ing, running, walking, they know that what comes before is a verb?
Yeah. Of course, they don't know it's a verb.
No, they wouldn't label it, but they know it's an action of some kind. That is fascinating.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And we are talking about still preverbal babies. 1.5. Yeah.
2.
Yeah, so it's fascinating, and what could be useful as a parent, that to create this safe space for them, to don't be condescending, like looking down, literally. Eye level is, for example, very important when you are talking with a toddler, especially if they have a tantrum.
Come down
physically, be their prefrontal cortex when it's needed, and other notion which could be useful is the joint attention space, what we create, an invisible space together. So we are right now in a joint attention space because our attention is focusing at the same thing or conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you spend in this joint attention space with your child, you are able to boost their development more, because you are focusing in the same thing and you have this reactivity. You are reactive to the baby's needs, even if it's playing, like building blocks. It's very simple, like literally building blocks with the baby, and the play is that you building up and they are tossing down, and building up and tossing down, and they are doing so much within this very simple game, like fine motor skills, thinking, inference. If it's the last thing, it's on the top, then I can destroy it, and the humor that you are sharing, the emotional safety that you are sharing. So very, very simple things. What we see as simple is just the tip of the iceberg, and under that you are building or destroying your relationship with your kid.
It sounds like you don't need to be an expert. You just need to be spending mindful time with your kids and paying attention to them, and not trying to force them into a certain mode of behavior that they might not be ready for. Is that true, or am I oversimplifying?
No. You don't need cognitive psychology to be able to be an enough good parent. But what you have to be is someone who is reacting to their needs almost instantly, because, and a question just come, whether if I'm doing this, then I would spoil them. No, you will teach them how to love people, how they can be in a safe space emotionally. Like in Hungary, still there is this sleep training stuff.
Everywhere, I think, is still under
that you should just leave crying because their lung would be stronger. Bullshit. It's the most destroying thing you ever able to do with your kid is leave them crying alone, because what's happening is that they are not learning. Because when you are learning, you are calm, alert, and when they are stressed, they have fear. What they're learning is I don't matter.
Now, this is a sore point for a lot of parents who sleep trained their kids and then said, well, it worked.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it didn't work. You taught them they can't trust you.
Yes.
You taught them that they're alone.
They gave up. They gave up. They are
themselves.
before one, and they gave up on you as a caregiver.
They gave up on themselves too,
Yeah.
didn't they? They decided, because you are the God in their eyes, that they are not worth caring. No animal lets their...
No. It's too dangerous. Imagine a loud crying little animal in the jungle. All of the freaking spiders, snakes, all of the predators would be instantly there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the amygdala stuff. When the babies are crying, they are not crying to piss you off. This is another egoistic stuff. They are doing this to piss me off. No, it's not you, brother. It's about their needs.
It's not because they don't care about what time you have to get up for work.
Yeah.
They're not, this will be good.
They need something that you are the one who is able to provide them. And maybe this is a hug. Maybe it's a breastfeeding. Maybe to change their diaper. Maybe feed them if you are, not breastfeeding them. Maybe just an empathetic hug. Because, babies have this tummy stuff. And sometimes the only thing what you can do, just be present. Be with them. Even you cannot have, at least you are there. And you show your empathy towards them, that I understand you, I'm here for you, we will get through this together.
So them being in their own room down at the end of the hall with an electronic monitor, no matter how many little cloud stencils there are on the wall, is not
And the little monkeys, what they are doing? This, to the mommy. So,
and yet this is what people have been told is good parenting. You try to shape the child to fit your lifestyle, the demands of the clock and of the schedule and of everyone's jobs and everything, and that they're a better person, that they're going to be a better person if they learn to wait, if they learn to suffer.
But they cannot wait because they are not there here. They are not able to wait. So when a kid wants something, and if you cannot give it to them instantly, because there are some circumstances when you can, at least what you can say, I know, I'm sorry, I can't, I'm hear you. Your crying is not bothering me because I understand you. And they will calm down and move on.
Because you've told them that their pain matters to you. You're not angry about it.
Yeah, they feel it, it's about the congruency of the parent. You can say that, your crying is not bothering me, but all of your, body signs, gestures and everything, and the intonation of your voice is like, usually you are showing that you are stressed. But if you can really feel that your crying is not bothering me, then they will calm down. And it's something very interesting about the baby's cry. If they are crying and you are very, very upset, you feel like they are getting to your nerves, this crying is making me crazy, it's something in your childhood, unfortunately,
really,
that you weren't listened with empathy. Your crying wasn't acceptable.
Wow.
So
How do they know this?
Who?
Well, researchers.
I had to, there was some psychological research about this, that this is like a button.
Wow.
Which is activating, because when a baby cries, that's affecting our brain. And if our baby cries, some babies are crying on the street. Okay, a baby is crying, you are not activated. You can feel, oh, poor baby, but you are going and buy 1 kilogram of bread without any problem. But when your baby is crying, something, it's inside you, it's just triggering you.
You have a direct channel to your own child.
Yeah, and you want to do something, not because only it's horrible to hear, but you want to help. But if you left crying, no one responded, or your crying was upsetting, or you were just an inconvenient, loud little thing, then your own kid's cry will just
push that ancient button.
Yeah.
To think of that, to think of the reality of sleep training, and this is what we know through research, that it is harmful, it is literally traumatic.
And paves the way to narcissistic traits.
Yeah, like think of how much the world would be better if sleep training just never happened, if no one ever did that. But it's a sore point. People are very sensitive because there's still books out there. Dr. Spock is still a big seller. Horrible, poisonous book that's probably
wrecked generations.
Yeah, borderline crime against humanity. I know that sounds extreme,
no.
But if you take what we've known for decades now, through research about what children go through, against the advice of that book, it should be banned. It should be criminalized. But it's still
anti-human,
and it comes from this early 20th century mindset that the child must learn to obey, that you have to shape it, and it
so
has...
patriarchal. A man is writing a book to women how to wreck their own child.
Yeah, the tyranny of the infinite. It's a quote from the book, The Tyranny of the Infinite.
I remember my mom gave that book for me when I was expectant with the first
Did
one.
she? That's surprising.
Of course, this was the book, how to read, And I was starting to read. I didn't have any psychological background then, but I was reading, and I felt very uncomfortable. And when he said, it's better to smoke 1-2 cigarettes to ease your stress, do it. It's not harming the kid as much you would be stressed without cigarettes. It's like, what is bullshit about? No way. It was in the 20th page, and I just, okay, bye-bye, Spock. I wouldn't talk to you.
Maybe they've taken those pages out since then, but still the mindset it's very pro-parent.
Because even that super vulnerable, developing creature inside you should just endure your bad addiction, and you are not turning to them as a responsible parent that, okay, I will take care of you because you don't have a choice. You are inside me.
So much of what people have been taught in the last century or so and read in books must fight instinct so intensely.
Yeah.
That image of a woman wanting to go to her crying baby down the hall and the husband holding her wrist and saying... It
happened in our family, that my mom heard my brothers crying, and he was always crying in the middle of the night. My poor mom was like... because only my mom was the one who woke up, by the way. So my mom was, in this kind of delirium phase, and she hit herself in the door because she couldn't see. So, and my father said, enough is enough. And he held my mom's hand and didn't let her to go. So my mom was crying, the baby was crying, and it was a big legend, that during 3 days it was gone. Oh, good.
Yeah, doesn't cry anymore.
Literally never ever show his emotions, but hooray. So the expectation that babies would shape themselves to our world it's inherently wrong because they are not able to do that. Their brain is just not like that. Like, for example, I'm dropping another notion, theory of mind. This is the ability that we are able to take in other people's perspectives.
Okay.
When it's starting to evolve, 4 years, when we are 4 years old, until that, the self is developing, that, you know, I need to know who I am, that because in the beginning the babies think that they are the same person like their mom, at least until 6 months of age.
That's interesting.
Because, you know, they were one person, literally.
So you're still connected mentally. They see themselves as one entity with their mother.
Yeah, and that's why when they are started to crawl, they have this separation anxiety, because they are able to go away from their mother. So the confidence and the fear is coming at the same time. And it's the same when they started to walk, you know. The more independent the baby, the separation anxiety can just suddenly a big hit. But back to theory of mind, because I'm jumping like crazy. So we expect, again, from 2 years old, that they would understand we are in the middle of a family dinner. So don't behave like a little animal because it looks bad on me. But the kids don't care what other people think. They are developing their own identity. And when they are able to say I, it's crucial. And they need this egoistic point of view to step forward.
So that they're not able to say, well, this might be awkward for my mother. So if you are punishing a child in some way, verbally or with withholding love, that for their behavior, and they don't understand because they can't project themselves into you, does that not just make them afraid to try anything? Don't they just sort of withdraw if they're concerned that any behavior is going to be met with, or could be met with, a negative reaction from a parent?
Unfortunately, what's happening, if this is happening frequently, for example, you know, kids were even punished physically before. Even today, it's happening, even if it's going against the law. Here in Hungary, some people really think that, if they are just hitting 1-2 in the span, or how do you say, you know, when they are hitting the popo, you know,
spanking them, yeah, I was hit and I'm fine.
I'm fine. Clearly, brother, because
except
you are just you are hitting
children,
the children. That they it's the norm. They think it's fine. It wouldn't harm the kids. But it's not true. So again, if it's happening lots of time, then the kid wouldn't be able to separate between behavior and themselves. They would think that something is wrong with them, because if not wrong with them, then something is going wrong with the parent, which is no way that they would accept. So
you need the parent.
You need the parent, so you are the one who deserves this kind of treatment, and we are again going back to the same origin of this evil circle, you know?
It's actually increasingly easy to see why there's so many messed up people in the world, because this is the way people were taught to raise children. They thought they were making their children stronger by withholding love and hitting them and forcing them to eat according to the clock, and you know, all this really sick, egotistical stuff, making a child, a natural creature, conform to a very unnatural lifestyle,
and detaching their needs from themselves and putting adult needs on them. That's why they don't know what they want. You know, they are shutting down their own needs and serving other needs because this is the expectation.
And then we get another Donald Trump.
Yeah. So what could be a message, what cognitive psychology can give us as milestones as parent? Or be always reactive to your baby. This calls contingent reactivity. When you are always reacting to your baby's needs, no matter what, doesn't matter what it is, you're just trying. And they know that you are trying, and this could calm them down, even if you are not able to figure out what is that.
So this doesn't mean giving them everything they want. This means just responding and interacting and acknowledging that they...
But if you know what they want, give it to them. But, if you don't know, just that you are trying gives them peace of mind. And be close, physically and emotionally. Be present. Be attuned to them. And be very curious about them, because they're not tabula rasa. They are people already. If you see our 3 daughters, they are very different people. And we didn't shape them like this. They are like that. And as a parent, you are not curious who they are. Like, our little baby is very independent, very busy. She has even sense of humor. And all of the things that I wouldn't list right now. But if you are curious about them, then you have a good drive, that you can listen to it, that how they feel, what they think, what they want. If I would be in their shoes, then how I feel, and so on and so on. And the other myth that I would like to ruin, that don't love them equal way. Same way, because then you are the worst parent in the whole world if you are measuring this amount of love and this kind of love, because they are different people. So you are not able to love them in the same quality, maybe quantity. Yes, I cannot say that I love more one and the other, but I love them very differently because their needs are very, very different.
Just like you have different relationships with all the other people in your life.
Yes, because you are reacting to them, not to yourself, to them, because you want to fulfill their needs, not yours, because you have an idea what kind of kids you should have as a mom, as a dad. And the attention, the real attention that you are giving to them is another cornerstone. Because if you are just there wandering around them, they know that. They learn that they are not important. If you are on your phone, if you are always thinking about something else, and I'm not saying that you just have to, concentrate all the time to them, but when you are with them, when you are playing with them, when you are feeding them, even with the adolescents, when we are at the table eating together, we are together because this is quality time. So use as a quality time, not
no phones,
scrolling,
no togetherness. Well, this is especially important for fathers, because traditionally they've expected to come home and have the kids washed and presented to them. And this crazy thing. But really, within my lifetime, there were still TV sitcoms that espoused that kind of and unbelievable stuff. But the father was there to dispense the odd word of wisdom when it was needed, when the mother just couldn't handle things anymore. But really, fathers...
Poor little mother who is home all the time couldn't handle the kids, yeah.
So the understanding underneath all that was that the fathers didn't have a responsibility or even the power to know their children, to interact with their children. This was woman's work. This was the mother's work.
Yeah, they said in Hungary for a long, long time that when they are able to play and talk, then I will be with them. No, you have to be with them from zero when they are inside, because you are the freaking father. So you have to be in their life, because if not, you miss so much,
Yeah. And so do they. They need both parents, and we see from our littlest one that she has different needs from each of us. There's obviously a different relationship with each of us, but they're both very important to her. There's no hierarchy at all. So she has her daddy world, and she has her Anya world, and the world with each of her sisters too. And these are all part of what's made her who she is, and made her clearly comfortable with the world. She doesn't seem to be afraid of anything.
Yeah, and who doesn't want for their children to be comfortable in the world? Because this is the other thing, that if you cannot trust in your own parents, how the world you would be able to trust in the outside world? No way you would be an anxiety person, someone who cannot really build relationships, because this is another takeaway, that what you give to them at the first years, they will look for this forever until they realize if it's harming them. They are going to the psychologist, and in therapy they try to fix this. But if you give genuine love, without expectations, with your attention, with everything what you have, honestly, with all of your mistakes and shadows and everything, then they would look for someone who can love them for who they are, and not going anywhere else where they would be abused or used, or so you are putting the basis down for their future relationships, for the future marriages. And if you see your children happy in their relationship, you can do this, because you did this for them, because you taught them what does it mean love.
Or you didn't unteach them, because they do have a capacity for love. It seems to be innate.
It's innate.
As long as you don't do anything to wreck it.
Yeah.
And so many and people. I pity young parents, first-time parents. They get so much advice, so much judgment, and they get it from their own parents. And they figure, well, my parent must know because here I am and I'm okay. But if you're repeating your mistakes and you're not okay, it's hard to have the courage to move past the mistakes and the ideas you grew up with and you accepted, because it's easier to accept something and continue it than to upset the apple cart and take on something new and risk the wrath of your parents or your friends by doing something different from what they did. But it's necessary to be sensitive to the reality and what we have learned through research that goes beyond the populist views and enables parents to really love their children and create an environment where the child can be uncontaminated by the kinds of things that crept into their lives in the past. They crept into our lives in the past because our parents just didn't know any better and were too naive to ask for help. They didn't have the resources available to them. Now there are resources. But I guess it's just as much bad information floating around as good information.
Yeah, but it's important to highlight that baby is born with an ancient trust, with their own personality, with the desire of belonging. So we should think about this as a treasure that we have to protect, no matter what are the circumstances, that we have to be able to keep this trust and openness and the feel of belonging in them, that we don't want that when they would be young adults, they want to unlearn all of the shit that we put inside them. So we want to prevent this, and we, of course, doing mistakes, but mistakes are forgivable if the true love is under it, because you can always dig down. It's coming from a love or not, and if you are a parent who really care, you are able to change. You can say, yeah, this wasn't the best. I'm very sorry. I would do everything to change this. And because even adult kids would like to relate how this small wouldn't, if just imagine that if your parents or grandparents would come here and now at this time of our life, they would say, I'm so sorry, Rob, that I couldn't do better, but I loved you so much. Can we do something to fix this together? What would you say?
I don't know. Of course you would want to, but you wouldn't know whether they have the power, whether it would be very redeeming. It would clear up a lot of pain. It would make that misconception about you being at fault go away. If there was some acknowledgement that the mistake was on the other side, and you weren't an undeserving infant, and you weren't a bad kid. You really weren't a bad kid, and that would of course that would help.
You would warm up your heart for sure.
Even if they couldn't do anything, just having them understand that that what they did was accidentally unfair and accidentally harmful, and will need some intentional work to correct. Because if people don't get therapy or read the right books or do some inner work in some way, they will be carrying the burden of those mistakes that happened in their childhood forever. So the last thing you want is to give this to the next generation as well. Is it safe to say you can trust the instincts of your child because they're born without any of this crap that we're carrying around that we were raised with? And to activate your own instinct and to trust your own instinct, because if your instinct says, my child is crying, I need to go to it, and some daft spouse is grabbing your wrist or some daft Dr. Spock just say, no, I trust me. I trust the thousands of generations of people that have brought us to this point, this successfully, to dispense with all that 20th century nonsense and that moralistic nonsense and religious nonsense, and say, no, we are creatures. We know we made it this far. We can trust that this child is crying, I'm going to it. And even if I can't give it exactly what it wants right now, I can give it what it needs, and that is love and the affirmation.
And condolences,
Yeah.
And yes, so listen to your deep instinct and practice it, because you can reach yourself if you are practicing. But just imagine that this question how affected you right now, then a little child feel the same. So they always want to connect. They always want to be with you. They always want to be understood. And they want to always reach out. So no matter how many mistakes you are doing accidentally, until you want to try, it would work. Just listen to you. Look at your child. When Abby has this huge crocodile, tears running in her face. For us, nothing. But for her, it's real. Mm-hmm. It's real. It's bothering her. So she doesn't need that, this is nothing. She needs empathy.
Yeah.
And the hug that everything will be okay. So this is what they need.
And this not need just at that moment, but this is what they need to develop into healthy, intelligent, caring, emotionally intelligent people. Yes. So when you say cognitive development, it sounds very laboratory, It sounds like a system or a process, but really it's what would happen naturally if nothing interfered. It's the name we give to that progression from infancy through childhood into adolescence into adulthood that works if it's fed with the right ingredients, and they are love, I guess, first and foremost. Trust. And respect. Attention. Presence. Kindness. Fairness. Dignity. These are pretty good ingredients. Yeah. Because that's the time, isn't it? And if you wait too long, then all these things become so much more difficult to achieve in a person, if not impossible. And so few people who are the most damaged, like narcissists and control freaks and other people like that, they don't think there's anything wrong with themselves. So they're not going to go to a therapist. They're not going to look for help. No. They're just going to continue damaging the people around them and the planet and everything, because this is their new program that cannot be changed at that point.
Yeah, so everyone should love their children and love themselves, trust in themselves that they are good enough parents, and do the maximum that you can for them. Even if it's not perfect, you should just do whatever you can to make an environment when they can have a safe childhood.
Would you say, now I know that would have made an excellent wrap there, but I'm thinking that if you have a situation where what we've said in this episode or others has made you realize that things were not as rosy in your own childhood as you would you like to believe, as you've always said it was. Oh, I had a great childhood. But then you start to realize, no, I didn't have what I needed. And it wasn't because we were poor. It was because my parents chose or didn't know to give me what I needed. Maybe you have a crippled capacity for love that is going to negatively impact your ability to give love to your child.
Of course.
If that's true, then you've got some work to do. Job
before.
one is, yeah.
Before you have children.
Yeah, but if it's too late, like if you've already got children, they're job one. From right now, you can start to apply.
But the best what you can do for them, to go to therapy and try to fix yourself, because it would improve massively their childhood.
Yeah, if you don't accept what happened to you as the baseline of acceptability in parenting,
and you can catch yourself if something is wrong. That there is a saying that before kids I have principles, ideas about raising up children, and after I have children. So everything is going through the window because the practicing is very different. But when you hear your mom's voice that you didn't like, when you act like your father that you didn't like, and so many parents say, "Oh Jesus, I'm behaving like my parents," and I told myself I never.
That you never wanted to do that.
Never wanted, and I'm doing it, and if this is coming back, it's better to go and seek for help, because you are you are gambling with your own children. And
the time is short. They grow so fast. They grow. It's unbelievable. People say that it's a cliche, and yeah, if adults changed at that rate, the world would be weird.
But it's never too late to fix, and this is the beauty of parenting. They always react to your development,
And we've seen how kids can transcend difficulties from earlier in their life and come out seeming almost like different people. They have a different vocabulary, a different love vocabulary, a different emotional intelligence. There's a different way of interacting with the world, and it's never too late. It's never too late.
No, that's a good wrap up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. I hope this wasn't too tough. It was for me. We're here for you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you next week. Please subscribe, and you can see us crying more.
It's all free.
Bye.
Bye-bye.